Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am really glad that you are joining me today because I have a slimline card to share with you using the Sky High Friends from My Favorite Things as well as a slimline die from Mama Elephant. So first of all, I stamped out my images onto perfect coloring paper using Gina Design Amalgam ink. This paper is going to allow me to really do some heavy ink blending without any bleeding. So this doesn't mean that I don't like the Nina, but I just don't really know where I'm going with that balloon yet. So just to make sure that I can do whatever I want to do, I have taken this paper to help me out. I already thought about how I'm going to place my critters, and I try to keep in mind how shadowing and light source and stuff is going to be. In this case, the little bunny on the moon and the moon and the star, of course, will give the light source to my card. So the idea is that this bunny that I'm coloring in right now will be underneath the moon with the bunny on top, and the balloon will be above it. So that gives me two ways to color in those two images because the light source is coming from another area. For the rest, I'm really keeping the coloring pretty simple, starting with the darkest, going to the mid-tone, the lightest, and keep going back and forth until I'm happy with the end result. Sometimes going over a certain area really helps darkening that color, even if you're using exactly the same marker. So that's what I did for this bunny a few times, and then for the clouds, I know I'm using a green one, but I really like this color to add onto clouds. It's different from the blue one, but I think it works. And then I try to do some heavier shadowing on this one. So I took another really light green that I had in my Copic Marker collection, and then I blended it out. So that's that. For the rest of the coloring, I'm going to put on some music. I'm doing exactly the same as I said, and then afterwards I will add some white dot detailing on top of my balloon as well. So now I'm almost done with using my white Jelly Roll pen to add some dot detailing, and then I can take my matching dies to die cut all the critters and elements for my background. I'm now laying everything out the way I want it to look, and then I can start on my ink blending. So I have die cut this slimline panel out of Strathmore Bristol Smooth because I'm going to ink blend with distress inks, and they are less forgiving as, for example, distress oxide inks. But with the Strathmore Bristol Smooth, it stays wet for a longer time on your paper. Nina tends to really soak it up. But this way you can really keep moving the colors a bit more. So if you have distress inks, you don't have distress oxide inks, then a paper like this really can help you help with some more intricate blending, or with more of a, if you are going from a really light to really dark color, then this can also help you because you have more wiggle room. Okay, so I am staying with the really warm tones for this card. I have first added that yellow because that's where my light source is going to be, the moon with the little bunny. So I really wanted to establish that first and then just work my way around it. Also, there is a gradient between the orange red and then another darker red. I will also be adding some black. But then as you look, the light source is lower on the card, so there will be more of a darker color on the top of this card. The light source isn't getting that far. So in that opinion, I try to keep that in mind, sort of. So I'm just going back and forth between the colors. You can also see that the paper stays wet and there is really a lot of movement still happening, even when the inks are already on there for a bit. But that was really handy to get the background that I wanted. With my panel being ink blended, I am going to add some white gouache to create some more stars. I want to have some bigger ones, some smaller ones, but I really want to have lots of stars on the back. I only have my 2 extra clouds. I am not coloring in any of the stars in the stamp set and die cutting a lot of them. That's all for these stars to represent. So I first did some flicking and now I'm just using my paintbrush to get the ink off of my acrylic block, which is also really helpful to just have a bit more control about everything and where everything is going. And I just keep adding them until I'm happy. And then this needs to dry. So this took a while because of the bigger blobs of these stars that I created. They had to dry a bit longer, so I already used my heat gun and then I laid it aside for I think half an hour to really make sure that it was dry. And now I'm adding all my elements. And then after everything is added, I am going to stamp out my sentiments. They are in a really large sentence, but I'm going to mask a part of it off and then make 2 lines of it. You can also do some stamp surgery, but I cannot handle that. There are people who can, there are people who cannot. I am one of those people who cannot handle cutting apart stamps, so I'm not doing that. It's really uncomfortable for me. So I just keep masking, and it works fine as well. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stamp it out with some black ink. My images are also with the black ink, so that works fine. So yeah, I first thought of doing this here and then do some white heat embossing, but then yeah, it wasn't really connecting with the rest of the card. So I decided to place it in the middle and just do 2 lines of it, and that worked fine for me. So after I did that, I am going to adhere this panel on top of a card base, and that finishes off my cardigan. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that you like the coloring, the ink blending, and of course the end result. If you have any questions, you can always leave them down below. I am happy to help wherever I can. And if you like it, you know that you can always give me a thumbs up. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day and that you maybe are able to craft a bit more. And then I will see you back next time. Bye!